Hello, everyone. How are you after the full moon and after the eclipse window has closed? It's been an intense few weeks for so many people that I know, and I would love to check in with you and ask you how the last 2.5 weeks have been for you. The cosmic energy that's been available for us is about really checking in with everything that makes us feel secure, everything that helps us to feel anchored and grounded in the world, and then whatever it is, any elements that are around us that throw that security off of our ability to balance it are going to come up into situations. They're going to come up into our big awareness. We're going to have to look at them. And luckily, what most of us are able to do is to say, this no longer works for me anymore. I really have to. I no longer have a choice participating in this anymore. I have to shift something, whether that be in my ability to speak to boundaries and my ability to take space for myself, in my ability to just own a sense of self-worth or own a sense of achievement, or even a sense of establishment, to really own that for myself and give something to myself, like validate myself in a way, because seeking it in other places or other dynamics is just not sustainable for my alignment. So we've had to look at things that are out of balance for us personally, and we've had opportunities to see how they play out in bigger ways, where it's like, really, it's no longer, we're no longer able to ignore it. It's just painfully obvious or uncomfortably obvious. And so, I mean, that's just the energy with the astrological influences. But myself included, most people that I'm talking to, we're all really looking at our shadow. And that's when the Scorpio medicine comes in. Like this the new moon that came in just over 2 weeks ago, where we had an eclipse as well, a solar eclipse, opened the opportunity for us to look at security and what knocks us off our security. And then the 2 weeks has been like kind of integrating that. And this full moon in Scorpio is really bringing up to the surface anything that shifts, that shakes our sense of inner shame. So whatever things that are really impossible for us to hold space for in ourselves, things that we will disassociate from or cut ourselves off from, things that we feel like we can't even see it because it's too painful to look at it. But what we do instead, and I'm generally speaking, of course, but this is a big pattern that's happening right now, is that if someone else outside of us triggers anything, those deep inner wounds, and it's the deep inner shame, the voices that say there's something messed up with me, like there's something inherently wrong with me, like I am, like, not the things that not about our actions, not about guilt. This is like shame, like there's something inherently wrong with me, like I'm messed up, which is a lie, which is a huge lie. But any voices that will say, and this comes from our trauma, but any voices that say like the results of our life is our fault because we're just not good enough, because we just don't know how to do it, or just because there's something wrong with us. So a lot of those things that are so hard for us to face within ourselves, that deep inner shame, if it gets triggered, if we see a characteristic in another person, the judgment, or the inability to hold space for them. So that's what it really is. It's an inability to hold space for ourselves and an inability to hold space for other people, where it turns into loathing, contempt, resentment, judgment, jealousy, anger, projection, just all of the stuff, blame, just like you are the reason, you are why the world's so messed up. All of those things, when we look at people with that kind of energy, it's going to most likely, like, you know, I'm not going to say always, but it's probably a reflection of a part of ourselves that we can't hold space for. And we have this opportunity, like, so our shame has been shaken from, I would say, from Thursday, Friday energy to today. And I'm talking, today is a Tuesday morning. Okay, so we've been through this portal. I wanted to come on and talk earlier, but I've just been going through my own deep personal stuff that even a few days after, there's this sense of like a full moon hangover, some kind of, there's just the remnants, that's the integration process that I really had to take some space for as well. But I want to just invite you to look at the things that have been going on with your nervous system, things that have been going on with your sense, with the like dense energy, heaviness in your heart. People who have triggered you, voices in your mind that have said things to you, or that are like obsessive thoughts, or just any kind of sadness for your actions, any kind of like, wow, like realizations of this is of patterns that are present for you and that you're not sure how to manage. And just be able to soften those edges with your compassion, with your breath, with your patience, and really activate another part of you. So anytime that we start moving towards taking steps into a bigger expression of ourselves, which all of us are doing, the nervous system shame activation, that stuff's going to come up, because that's survival saboteur. So it comes from the survival center of our brain. It's sabotage energy, though. It's like that we have a frequency of what's normal, and when we start moving forward, when we start shifting our frequency, we have to push back and against something. And so it's natural for us to want to go back into our normal habits, because we have to push against a resistance. The other thing is that our nervous system will be activated, and we'll have panic. We'll have to push through fear. We'll have to push through anxiety. We'll have to hold a bigger space for our sense of shame. We'll have to process that. We'll have to say, this is an old wound that's still showing up. I mean, even if, for me personally, it was like, I've done so much work with this, and it's still coming up and asking for more love and more compassion. And it's my job to be able to give that to myself, because when I do that, I'm able to hold a bigger healing space for other people as well. And that also means like letting go of attachment for how things are, because when we start shifting our sense of, when we can hold a bigger space for ourselves, we have to create circumstances and relationships that nurture that as well. So being able to listen to the space that it requires to let parts of ourselves heal often means we need to change circumstances in our lives. And that means setting boundaries around certain people. That means changing jobs because there's unhealthy dynamics going on in the work environment. Because when we start to change our sense of shame, when we start to heal our sense of inner shame, when we shift that, we start feeling more worthy of circumstances or of environments. We no longer are able to put up with with abusive dialogues or with microaggressions, with relationship dynamics, with resentments and judgments and jealousy and weird stuff. So that will mean setting boundaries with family members. It means changing jobs a lot of times. Those are big things because those are such big things, big foundational things that those are things that keep us stuck in the patterns that make us feel small. And that to continue with the inner dialogue that, well, I'm just little me and I have all the stuff and there's something wrong with me anyway, and I should just be grateful with what I got. So when we start to heal our shame, we're no longer able to put up with abuse because we are being nicer to ourselves. When we start to interact with other people who have microaggressive kind of languaging, speak with us with the condescending, we interact with people who don't offer us the respect that we'd like. But that's because we have an inner critic that might speak very similar to how they speak to us. So we agree, we have an agreement that this is okay because we do it to ourselves. We're participating in it in a way. And then we go out there in the world and other people are interacting in the same kind of vibrational frequency as that inner critic, and we're okay with it. But when we start shifting this and we feel good with ourselves and we go out there and we start interacting and someone tries to do the same kind of thing, we're like, this is no longer okay for me, actually. So I'm going to set a boundary, or I'm going to put in my notice, or I'm going to do something different. Even with clients, for me, it was like I was participating, like the clients who were more demanding and needing things, and I didn't feel like there was and maybe I was a little more apologetic and in the service, just maybe just a little bit more service-oriented, self-deprecating kind of energy. And then when I started taking more, like asking for more money or not working at nights and on the weekends, and just setting boundaries around my work, and then having to set boundaries with clients who were still more demanding, and wanting me to do things, meet them in a way that I wasn't comfortable with. So, there was an awkward moment where my regular clients weren't my regular clients anymore. So I had to find other clients. So it's big things like that can keep us, we have to start doing that work in the world and set those situations up in the world so we're able to thrive in an energy frequency that works better for us, that helps us to be a bigger, shinier, more expressive, colorful version of ourselves. And there's so much cosmic energy that has been shifting us through this way. And, in other things, I feel like there's so many vibrational frequency activations. Like if you've been getting ringing in your ears, if your dreams are more vivid, if you're listening to your intuition, you're following your personal guidance, you're developing the spiritual gift of channeling, you're able to get guidance from ascended masters, or you're able to just access parts of you that are in alignment with your higher self. And you're practicing that with your actions. This is the energy that is available to really be so compassionate, bringing in that inner mama, the inner parent that is just so in love with the parts of yourself that have been, that we've cut ourselves off from, that we've been eager to disassociate from. Like, this isn't me. That's not me. I'm not like that. But saying, okay, not only is this part of my story and part of my journey, this is my hero's journey. This is my healing. This is my soul work. This is the alchemy that I came here. Like, I came into this lineage of wounded people, and my soul has taken on a body, and I'm practicing this energy alchemy with my life story, healing in my body, healing my biology. And all of the things that I've wanted to cut myself off from are now like just integrating, being able to integrate the healing energy of owning our shadow, owning shame, things that we've identified, like, no, like alchemizing shame, owning the aspects of us that we didn't want to own, and transcending shame. That's the medicine of Scorpio. And that's there, we've gone through a cosmic journey, and we're on the other side of it now. So I wanted to give you that reflection and check in with you. How have you been? How have the last 2.5 weeks? Are you going through something? How are you feeling today? Are you feeling a bit lighter? And if you can use any support, I'm here to offer single sessions. And I have bigger packages to, like, longer journeys to take that we can talk about. This is my piece today, and I hope you are well.